Hey, not yet. And yes, and now, hello everyone. My name is Christopher Elliott. It is 2:20 in Auckland, New Zealand, which is where I am coming from today. And if you're on the east coast of the United States, as most of my viewers are, it's probably closer to 11 o'clock the previous day. I love bringing you the news a day ahead. That's why I'm actually a day ahead of you. It's Wednesday here already. It's Tuesday where you are. So you're getting the news first from me right here. It has been a while since our last live stream. And, I got so much feedback from you guys about live streaming and, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. Do you like seeing my face here? I love it. I'm a little bit overwhelmed. Thank you so much for taking the time to write. If you're watching this, and if it says live on your screen, it means I am actually live in Auckland, New Zealand right now. And I would love to hear from you. Please tell me where you are in the world and what's going on right now. We're talking about travel. In a minute, I'm going to have an update on the Vantage Travel situation, which many of you have asked me about. And we're also going to talk about summer travel. There's been some new numbers that have come out predicting Memorial Day travel. Memorial Day, of course, is only about 9 days away from now. That is the traditional start of the summer travel season. Before I jump into all that, though, I am in Auckland, New Zealand. It is a very different place than Christchurch, New Zealand, which is where I was for the last month or so. It's different in so many ways. Mostly the weather. I got to tell you, the weather here, it's as unpredictable as it is in Christchurch, which is on the South Island, except it's much warmer. So right now I'm wearing a little bit less. Last time you saw me, I was in my fleece. Now I get to wear this here, which is really great. Well, look at this. I love live streaming because we get comments. So let's find out where you are. We've got Veronica in California. How are you, Veronica? Nice to see you. I hope you are enjoying the live stream. And I'd love to hear comments from you. If you have any questions on travel, I'm more than happy to answer them. So just shoot them on over. We have also, what do we have here? Keva doesn't say where you are. So I have to guess where you are. I have no idea where you are. Oh, wait. Yes, maybe this is the same person, Las Vegas, or Keva in Las Vegas. Wait, no, India. Okay. And we have another LinkedIn user saying, good day, mate. I have to assume that you are in Australia. So we're not that far away from each other. Tell me where you are. It's a live stream, so anything can happen, and anything might happen too. I have another comment from Veronica. Nice to see you too, Veronica. I love this. Live streaming, I'm doing it. I kind of have a multi-stream going. So I'm streaming to several different places. One of them is LinkedIn. I think I have a lot of very active users on LinkedIn, but also on, we have, what are the other ones? We have Facebook. We have 3 Facebooks. And then we have, God, what else do we have? Tons of other places. Twitch is another one, yes. And YouTube. Oh, yeah, we're definitely on YouTube. Okay. We have someone from Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Nice to see you. Vietnam has always been one of the places that I've wanted to visit, and I'm in your area, so I may just swing by sometime this year or maybe next year. And hello from Hawaii, and have to fly to get to the mainland. Cindy. Oh, hey, Cindy. I know you. Yeah, I know. It's what, 5 hours to get to LA from Hawaii, which is fine. I mean, Hawaii is a really great destination. Don't get me wrong, Hawaii is wonderful, but you have to fly to get almost anywhere you want to go, the mainland or to some of the Asian destinations kind of far away. Or maybe, halfway between the two. I don't know. Anyway, Hawaii is on our list of places that I want to go to. And I think we'll probably be there in November. So yeah, totally. And well, let's see, someone else in LinkedIn, been to Australia, currently in Las Vegas. Okay. Yeah, we were in Australia, wow, that was 2 months ago, a month ago. We were in Perth, and then Brisbane, and Melbourne. And I think that our favorite place was Tasmania, Hobart, which was really a beautiful, beautiful destination. Highly recommend that you make it there if you can. More people. Keva says live streaming is the best. Hey, I want to talk about live streaming for a minute because I wasn't sure if I should come back and do more live streaming, but then people started emailing me going, hey, why aren't you doing more live streams? And I wasn't sure when the best time was to do a live stream. And I also wasn't sure if I should send a notice out letting people know that there would be a live stream, or if I just jump in and do a live stream. So I'd love to hear from you. What is the best thing for you? Do you want me to put up a notice before I go live? Or would you rather me just jump in whenever I have time and to start live streaming like I did today? So please let me know. Wow, everyone is online today. This is so cool. It's so beautiful. By there, I'm assuming that you mean New Zealand. New Zealand is very beautiful. I should probably talk a little bit more about New Zealand. Oh, Cindy's got more. Aloha from Hawaii. The only way to get to the mainland is to fly. That is true, but there are also some cruises, but not very practical, yes. 5 hours to LAX, yes. Another 5 hours to the East Coast and family. Oh, your family is on the East Coast. Flying is no longer fun. No kidding. Flying is no fun for me either. She says the last flight was 5.5 hours from Phoenix to Kona, served 1 packet of pretzels and a beverage. Yuck. Talk about starving you. I don't know. I am very unhappy with the current state of air travel, as you may have guessed. And I am sick and tired of the airlines treating us the way that they do. 5 hours without feeding you is not humane. And also, and Cindy, maybe you have noticed this, is the seats seem to be getting closer and closer together, which is absolutely outrageous. The FAA is supposed to be setting minimum seat standards, but they're not. They have stalled, to use an airline term, they have stalled for the last 3 years. I think they were supposed to, it's been more than that actually. They were supposed to do it in 2018. And now finally, they've set a rulemaking. They've asked for comments, but we're still probably, I don't know, a year or two away from having a minimum seat size. And even if we do have a minimum seat size, there's no telling what the FAA is going to say about the minimum seat size. Is it going to be like, these are normally measured in seat pitch inches. So 28 inches is probably the low end versus 34 inches in economy class is the high end. So where is the FAA going to come down? Is it going to come down on 28 inches? And I got to tell you, I was on a plane not so long ago. I was flying just 4 days ago from Christchurch to Auckland on Jetstar, and it was 28 inches, and my knees were right up against the seat. You've probably experienced something like that before. The guy in front of me tried to lean back, and he couldn't because my knees were right there in the way. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Hey, Steve, how are you? It's good to see you. I'm glad you tuned in for this one. Notice would be nice. Yes. And I am working on that. I don't know. It's really hard to know even how many people are watching this live stream because I get instant feedback, but I think it's only coming from one of the networks. So right now I see an eyeball and it says 6 people, but I know I have more than 6 people watching. When I look back, I see hundreds of people who are actually watching on some of these social networks. So it's very confusing. I don't know how effective this is. If you're watching this and you want to know that you want me to know that you're watching, I would love to hear from you. You've got my email address. It's chris@elliott.org. Wow, we have more. Cindy says she's packed into seats. Can the plane evacuate within 3 minutes? Of course not. Of course not. We're going to see that. Eventually, if they keep the seats this close together, there will be an airline disaster. People will not be able to evacuate, and people will die. It's just going to happen. We all know this. People in the aviation industry know this. This is what they tell me, is it's not a question of if, but when it's going to happen. We need at least 34 inches of seat pitch. Have to have that. Steve, I am doing well. I am trying to get used to the new climate here. This is not, look, when we were in Christchurch, it really felt like winter. Here, it feels like late summer, early fall. and the climate is a little bit more humid, so I'm trying to get used to that. And it's also a very different vibe, more of a big city here in Auckland than it is in Christchurch. But I like it a lot. I mean, if you've never been to Auckland, nice place to visit. I would definitely recommend it. A lot of Americans presumably come here, but I have not met any Americans yet. So I'm wondering where they've all gone to. Let's see. Cindy says, thank you for advocacy. You're welcome. And I'm grateful for you. Without you, there would be no advocacy. So she says, used it once when you goofed for a flight in a cruise. You know, these goof things that you talk about, they are probably more the cruise line and the airline's fault than it's your fault, because they make things so complex and difficult to understand. It's easy to goof. So don't feel bad about that. Nassim says there are 11 people watching, right? And I saw those 11 people. Now I see 10 people. Says that there are 11 people. We don't know which network they're on. Because I'm multi-streaming and I'm not getting feedback from all of them. So when I go back to like, YouTube, I'll see that there are many more people who are watched than the 11 people that you see right now. And now there's 12 and now there's 14. Hey. Okay. Yeah. Steve says they went to the Hobbit Village. I guess you're talking about people who came to New Zealand. All right. So let's talk about some of these other things here. Memorial Day. Topic, Memorial Day. It is going to be the third busiest Memorial Day for travel ever since AAA started keeping records. So they came out with that number a few days ago, and we've had some time to digest that. There are even more dramatic numbers when it comes to air travel. I think everyone can agree that this is going to be a really busy Memorial Day for air travel. And Memorial Day sets the tone for the rest of the summer travel season. So as Memorial Day goes, so goes the rest of the summer. So we can see by some of these numbers that we're going to have a really busy summer for air travel. What does that mean? Obviously, it means higher airfares, more crowds, potentially more problems with congestions, possible meltdowns. In other words, not the best summer to be flying, but everyone wants to fly. And one of the critical areas here for air travel is international. Everyone wants to go somewhere internationally. Now, there's a separate topic too, dealing with passports. A lot of Americans want to get their passports. Either they want to get passports or get them renewed, and there have been problems with getting passports. We're having what I have been calling a passport crisis right now, where some of the delays are up to 18 weeks. So if you decide right now that you want to go somewhere internationally, you are in big trouble because, oh, there goes my light. You're in big trouble because you're going to have issues with getting your passport on time. Anyway, so it's going to be really busy, needless to say. Got a little more feedback here from Cindy's. Where's everyone on time difference? Perhaps 4:30 p.m. in Hawaii. It's 10:30. Yeah, it's 10:30 in New York, and it is 2:30 on Wednesday here in Auckland, New Zealand. So we're actually a day ahead of you, thanks to that pesky little international dateline. Sorry about the lights, but my light just decided to go out. I thought I had it charged, but these lights are not the most reliable. Oh, related question from Anima. How can a student travel to America? What are the career opportunities we can seek? That is really, thank you for the question. That's kind of beyond the scope of what I do as a consumer advocate and travel guy, but there are definitely opportunities for you to travel to the United States. You can get a work permit to go there. If you're a student, probably the best opportunity for you would be to do an exchange program or study abroad, and then they'll take care of all of that for you. But there are definitely opportunities to travel. And then you can also go as a tourist if you want to. I'm not sure where you're coming in from, but you can usually come in without a visa. And if you do need a visa, it's usually you can get one for a month or for 3 months without much of a problem and without much of a cost. So that would be my recommendation. So let's jump back in though to talking about Memorial Day. So some of the advice that I've heard about Memorial Day. Okay, I just have to tell you this really quick thing. I got a call from a producer at the Today Show asking me if people wanted to fly for Memorial Day, like coming up Memorial Day weekend, where would they find the really cheap airfare deals? And I almost fell out of my chair. I mean, the question came from a good place, and I really liked folks over at the Today Show. But I think that anyone who wants to fly over Memorial Day weekend has got to be crazy, should have their heads checked, because it's going to be insane. Everyone is going to be at the airport. If you already have travel plans, follow the normal advice that I would have, which would be get to the airport extra early, give yourself an extra hour, at least 2 hours for international flights. Always call ahead. If you can, use a travel agent to book your flight. They'll take good care of you. Just the usual things. Pack your patience and make sure that if you are booking a last minute flight, book the first flight of the day, not the last flight. The first flight is far less likely to get canceled. So all of those things would help you. But my best advice is to avoid traveling on Memorial Day weekend, because that's when everyone else is going to be trying to fly. Okay, so Steve says, I'm traveling back to California on Memorial Day. Well, Steve, I'm sure you'll be fine. Actually, you know what? You're an experienced traveler, so I know that you're not going to make any of the mistakes that some of these less experienced travelers will make. You'll be fine. Definitely arrive early at the airport, but you already knew that, right? You knew that. Anima, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I wanted to know the most demand in business and management domain. If you know, unfortunately, I do not know. But if you email me, I'll try to answer your question. In economy class, is there bottomless alcohol on international flights? No. Oh my goodness, no. Okay, they will cut you off if you're drinking too much. Normally, alcohol in economy class is considered a profit center. That's why a lot of airlines have not stopped serving alcohol. Well, they stopped briefly during the pandemic, but they have not stopped. Recently they've resumed it. And the reason why is they make money off of the alcohol, and that money is what's considered ancillary revenue. So that goes directly to the airline's bottom line. It's highly profitable to be serving alcohol. So the airlines do not want to stop serving alcohol, but they will cut you off if you start drinking too much and misbehaving. Like there was this one passenger that I was seated next to once on a flight. It's a very attractive young lady, and she had been drinking way too much. So she started acting, shall I say, indecently. And the flight attendants came by. It was the very last row. I don't know how I ended up in the very last row. I mean, I have my suspicions. I think that airlines can see my name and then they go, "Oh, Elliott, we're gonna put him in the last row." Anyway, I was sitting next to her. They came by and she kept asking for vodka and tonics, and they finally said, "No more for you," and that made her very angry. And it was not a good flight for me, because she was angry, and at the same time she was also a little frisky. Anyway, that's a story for later. Steve says, I have pre-check, so it'll help a little. It'll help a lot, actually, if you get through that line faster. Pre-check's always a good idea if you're a frequent traveler, although that will not help if your flight is delayed or canceled. That's something that is outside of the purview of pre-check. If it was within the purview of pre-check, I think everyone would have it. I would have pre-check too. I don't have pre-check myself because I don't fly into and out of the United States nearly enough. I went back to the States one time last year, and then that was it. Any other comments about Memorial Day before I move on to the next thing? Because I love these comments. It's great. I love hearing from you. It means a lot to me. We have an update on the situation at Vantage too. Just to give you a kind of a synopsis of what's been happening. Vantage Travel, a luxury tour operator, operates cruises mostly in Europe, also in the United States and in Asia. And they have had a long history of complaints. As you'll see, if you go to my website, elliott.org, you'll see their company contact page is full of complaints. But they really hit a rough spot during the pandemic, and refunds started to slow down in a very serious way. And I reached out to them, and they got back to me and said, yeah, we've been experiencing some problems, but they're mostly operational issues, and we're going to have them resolved really soon. Unfortunately, that ended up not being entirely true. What was happening was that they were experiencing much bigger issues. They ended up having, about 2 weeks ago, a ransomware attack, or so they said, where they stopped answering the phones, their website went down, they weren't answering their emails. Over a long, and I mean a very long weekend, they ended up getting all that resolved, but now they've been canceling a lot of their sailings, and that brings us up to the present day. Now, I'm going to read you something that I received from a customer, actually from a group of customers at Vantage. What's going on now is they're saying that Vantage is canceling these sailings, and it's not emailing people their notifications. It's usually calling them, often at the last minute. So people will be on the ground ready to board their cruise, and they'll get a call from Vantage saying, we're really sorry, but your cruise is canceled. I'll see you later. And that's basically it. So we have 4 sailings that have been canceled. This Best of Holland and Belgium, the Spring Tulips and Culinary Treats, and apparently now it's being operated, or has been operated, by River Splendor. 2 sailings to Switzerland, Heart of Rhine and Moselle. Those ships are being now apparently operated by another cruise line. A land tour, a safari in Kenya and Tanzania, that was the 413 departure, also canceled. And then 2 sailings in Egypt, the Luxury on the Nile, also canceled. Additional cancellations, 1 Portugal and Spain sailing, May 12th sailing, canceled. 2 land trips, Trans-Canada Rail Adventure in the Rockies in May, also canceled. 1 sailing, the Europe Southern Coast in May, also canceled. Another ocean ship, the Celtic Voyage, Reykjavik to Dublin, canceled. And a Best of Africa, the 522 departure, also canceled. So this totals 15 cancellations, and there may be others. If you are one of those Vantage cancellations, I'd love to hear from you. There's not very much that I can do right now, but there may be something down the road. If I can keep a running tally of people who have problems, I'm doing the very best that I can to get people what they need. So if you have a travel insurance claim, I know a lot of people have claims through Allianz. I'm doing my best to get your claim to Allianz, and they actually are working directly with Vantage, hopefully, to get you paid out. That situation is a little bit complicated, and I think I discussed this in a previous live stream. Technically, you didn't pay Allianz. Allianz is just adjudicating the claims. The premium actually is with Vantage, and so Vantage has your money, and Vantage needs to pay the claim. So it's getting a little bit complicated. We have some more. Oh, I love how my screen looks really blue. That's what happens when your light goes out on you. But the show must go on, right? We have something from Anima again. And again, I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Getting a visa is very difficult for students. Yeah, I think it would be difficult if you're a student, but if you're on an exchange program, it might be a little bit easier. We have Matt. Matt, good to see you again. Current Vantage Better Business score is 1.04 out of 5 stars. Thanks for looking that up, Matt. Yeah, things are not going well. I have seen this before, and I suspect that it's not going to be very good. It's not going to end well. So if you have some kind of a cruise scheduled and it gets canceled and you've paid with a credit card, it might be a really good idea to place that in dispute with your credit card as soon as possible. If Vantage does go out of business, then it might be very difficult to get your money back. But you certainly would want to have a dispute going one way or the other. Question from a LinkedIn user: what airline has the best loyalty rewards program for class upgrades and hotel room upgrades? I'm glad you asked that question. I don't really follow loyalty programs very closely. And the reason why is I think that none of them are particularly good, which is to say that all loyalty programs ultimately benefit the company more than they do you. Now, if you happen to be located in a hub city for an airline, like let's say that you're in London and British Airways is like your airline of choice, or you're in Dallas and American Airlines is your choice, then you'll want to participate passively in the loyalty program. That is to say, you you have American Airlines Advantage program membership, and when you travel, you collect your points and your miles, or with a hotel chain, if you're staying at a lot of Marriotts, that you collect your Bonvoy points. But being an active member, which is to say that you're actually actively participating, you're going after the points, that's something that I would advise only if you're a very frequent traveler. Because if you're a frequent traveler, you can really make these programs work for you. If you're an infrequent traveler or an occasional traveler, these programs are meant to lure you in and get your money and give you as little in return as possible. The only winner is going to be the bank issuing your points credit card or the loyalty program. In the end, you will lose. You will pay more for your travel. You will find yourself trying to get those points redeemed for something, but the airline or the hotel will move the goalposts, and you'll find yourself unable to. They'll ask you to maybe pay extra, buy some more miles. In the end, you will lose. I promise you, it's not the best thing for you. So be very careful about participating in a points program, because it really could cost you unless you are a frequent business traveler. So we're at the very end of our wonderful live stream podcast, and I'm really, really glad that you joined me. You jumped in. There was no prior announcement. We had a pretty good turnout here for this too, and we'll probably have more people who tune in later on for the replay. But I'm glad that you came here for the live stream. It's always fun with your comments. I love it. So thank you so much. Sorry about the technical issues. Maybe we'll get those fixed for next time. Anyway, from Auckland, New Zealand, I'm Christopher Elliott, and I am so glad that you were with me. Join me next time, whenever that's going to be. Maybe I'll tune in tomorrow, or maybe I'll log in tomorrow, whatever it's called for live streaming, and I'll have another one. So I'll see you then. Bye.